Hello and welcome to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast.
Welcome aboard.
We are here with Blade Amodio.
Hello.
We are here to, we are re-recording our last podcast we did with Blade. We had some technical difficulties, and in switching my hard drives over, I did not transfer the entire files of our old podcast. So we had a good 2-3 hour podcast with Blade before. It was wonderful, but we're going to do it again. I feel like it might be even better this time. We're all a little bit more comfortable with each other. We were just meeting Blade for the first time last time.
I feel like here soon we'll finally be able to stop giving you a hard time about losing 2 episodes. But you're going to get it for a little while longer, just because I think it's funny.
It's okay, because I'm the one with all the equipment doing everything, so...
It's okay. I mean, I probably would have deleted many more files, but I'm going to keep razzing you about it.
I was a little upset about it. That was like the last thing in the world I really wanted to happen with that. But then it happened, I was like, all right, I guess you just kind of go with it.
In reality, though, like... Blade's local, so it's easy to talk to him again. We'll probably talk to Blade regularly, I hope. I hope we end up speaking with Blade regularly. And then the other episode we lost was our good friend Ben, who's also a local super avid collector. So both episodes we lost will definitely not be hard to replace, and in reality we'll probably have better content for everybody to listen to the second go round, now that like nobody's nervous and everybody kind of realizes like what we're doing and how casual it is.
Absolutely. And even, our recording quality in the first couple episodes, it's all changed so much episode to episode. I feel like we keep getting better technology, learning a new thing.
There's only a couple of pieces of equipment that we're really like researching and going back and forth on, but we're really close to having like a nice legitimate professional setup in the studio and portably, so we're getting there.
I mean, we've got a very professional setup right now, but there's just a couple things that would just top it off perfect.
Yep.
Couple things.
Couple little pieces, but it's all the learning curve of learning everything, and then like the application that we're using it for isn't necessarily like the music application, which both of us are a little bit more familiar with. So some of the things are different, some of the things are the same. Sometimes when we ask people for like advice, they give us advice that is not for the purpose we're using it for, so we kind of go in circles, but I feel like that's kind of all part of it. If we look at this podcast as just an art project in itself, as this project, this thing that we're making, and no differently, then there's always those trials and errors, and there's always like there's always the underpainting of the painting, which is usually very flawed, but you end up with something great at the end. So we're getting there. You guys are just kind of along for the ride. You're along for the build-up of it.
And if you've made it to this episode, thanks for making it this far.
Yeah.
I think this will be our episode number 5. When we first recorded this, we did it was fun. We talked a lot about Adam France and the Adam France fan club, but now that was actually before that we went out to Oregon. So we were talking about mine and Fawn's Oregon trip before. We were talking about how we were going to see Adam, and then how coincidental it was on how everybody had all this. We all have work by Adam France, and then Blade's got just some amazing work by Adam, and that's part of why we brought him in. He's just got an absolutely amazing tattoo collection from tons of really awesome artists. But he's got this huge chest piece by Adam that we went over quite a bit in our first session with Blade. That I was really bummed out that you guys missed that. But now he's back. We're going to talk about that more. You guys got a good taste of who Adam is too. If you guys listened to our last podcast, you really went down the wormhole in that episode. We went into a lot of things. I feel like
for sure.
Definitely everything from spirituality to tattooing to nature to psychedelics. Yeah, it's everything. It was great.
Yeah, I think we just have to go through all the material from our Oregon trip, but we've got tattoo session, a few hours from tattoo session, and just some great like breakfast talks before we went adventuring. Like I feel like that's some of the best content we had, is like chilling at breakfast time, me and you, and then me, you, and Derb, and then the day after you got worked on, chilling, just visiting with Adam and Odds.
I can't wait to get those all put together.
Yeah.
Oh man, like how great were those morning sessions we had? Sitting there, we just wake up, we're sitting there talking about our experience, talking about our day. We're talking about it exactly how we would if we were just already as friends. We're talking about it, but we just decided to put the microphone on. So, you give everyone a microphone, and
just literally
the good
sitting
stuff
in the
comes
middle
out.
of the table.
The real good stuff comes out. especially having Derb there, and having Derb in that situation where we can all just chill and we can have all three of our minds kind of come together.
How special is it to just like hang out with other people like that? That like, we admire them as artists, but at the same time, we've been through so many of the same things with our own collections. You know, like we're adventurers, but we also have like this like fearlessness to us, because like even if I get hurt, I've been hurt worse. Like you did get hurt, and you were like, keep on cruising. The day didn't even slow down.
Yeah, right. I split my leg open.
Yeah, we always joke around that like the official initiation of our tattoo family is Derb almost killing you. Like you're not part of the family for real until Derb has almost killed you in a nature adventure.
Yeah, right. Derb was the one pressuring me too. I was like,
you're next.
I'm like, I'm not jumping into 30-degree fucking water. That looks so cold. Then everyone does it. I'm like.
They looked at me and I was like, nah,
Derb's
I'm
like,
cool.
Do it. I'm like the only guy who hasn't done it. I'm like. All right, I know I'm going to be better off doing it. All right, so I jump in the water. As soon as I hit the water, I just smashed my leg on a rock, I guess. I didn't even feel it. I got out of the water.
You're just leaking.
I could tell you all about getting into that 30-degree water, man. That was fucked. That was totally fucked. But getting out of it was extremely difficult. I didn't realize that I was bleeding. I felt like a slight little bruised area, but...
Yep, algae rock got ya.
Everyone was all looking at me like crazy, like, holy shit. I'm like, what? I look down and my leg is just bleeding profusely.
But
water
then,
makes it look way worse.
Being that we're all tattooers, everybody's like,
God,
"Oh,
look
I've
at
got
the texture of that blood running down your leg through your hair." I'm like, "Yeah, get the picture. Get the picture."
Oh, I got a bunch. I'll share them with you.
It looked really cool.
Jordan doesn't have any pictures because he dropped his phone in the water, but it's drying out. It's coming back to life.
It is.
So we've been talking about our trip a lot. We'll be able to fill in more of that. It'll probably be the previous episode to this one. You will probably have already heard all of this, and now we're talking about it kind of out of order. But you'll hear this all in order. So hopefully you already enjoyed some amazing Oregon sound material.
Y'all heard all about it.
You know how rad it was.
What it was like jumping into that water. Or what was
I know how rad it was.
Yeah. Hey, Fawn, let me... Yeah, right. I wonder... I forget if we got that on tape.
Oh, that was totally on tape. Yeah. I'm welcome.
Well, yeah, if you guys have made it this
Thank
far,
me very
then
much.
we all know that I'm welcome. And,
I'm welcome.
And to thank me. So.
Thank me. I'm welcome.
But we are here with Blade.
Yeah, let's talk to Blade.
That is the main thing today.
So, Blade...
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's pretend this is the first time we're welcoming you.
Yes. Yeah, I have no idea what we talked about before. I just wiped it out of my brain.
Me too.
So let's start off with... I wanna preface everything with Jordan and Blade actually have a tattoo appointment today. Mm-hmm. So we'll probably talk about like
hours from now.
The preparations that have gone into from each end.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I want to just kind of like ask you to introduce yourself. Talk about your tattoo collecting history a little bit, and then eventually throughout the show we'll definitely get into like the lineup.
The lineup,
cool. Yeah.
So my name is Blade Amodio. I'm 24. I've been getting tattooed since I was 18, so about 6, almost 7 years. And in that almost 7 years, I've gotten quite a bit done, really. I am quite literally tattooed head to toe, which is cool.
And he's super tall, so head to toe is like 3 feet more space than most people.
Yeah.
I mean, in reality, when you really put those inches together, it's definitely a couple more feet than the normal person would.
Yeah, you've got a few more square
inches.
A few
more pieces of paper than the average person would.
I can get a few extra pieces in there, which is really nice. Definitely still got like a good chunk of my leg, so a lot of space there.
Right, you got some openings.
Oh, yeah.
You talked about me and Fawn. I remember that. We talked about that last time.
Yes.
You want us to do some collabs on you?
Mm-hmm. A collaborative, like, connective piece between, like, my Adam France, and then I have a Gunnar Biomech piece on my thigh. And I kind of want, like, the hip to thigh whole area connected that way. Yeah. I think that you two could collaboratively do some weird...
I think it's going to be really cool.
Organic, mechanical...
I feel like once we get that area connected, I think it'll look like a collaborative between the four of us. Like exactly. Adam, that's Jordan, me, Gunnar. Like it should all look like one cohesive thing. That's kind of what I achieve or hope to achieve with all of my collection is like that cohesion. One, I don't have my sleeves yet, but I want my sleeves to flow into my chest piece and into my back. And my back already flows into both of my leg sleeves. So... I really like the idea of, like, the story continuing instead of it being, like, bumper sticker, chop, something else. I like it when the eye has, like, a story to follow. And that's kind of what you guys are going to get into on your arm today, isn't it?
Yeah, he's going to do I have a bunch of random pieces on my left arm, and I want them connected or filled in some way, and that's what Jordan is going to do.
Yeah, he's got a like a traditional mandala on his elbow and a bunch of different, I would say traditional pieces all around his arm.
Traditional or neo-traditional,
so
but they're all of that same.
He's got a lot of, you get a lot of space in between those pieces. They don't always, connect to each other. So there's a lot of open space between them, and we're going to come through. We're going to run some cybernetic geometric stuff through it all, and just get that energy pumping in between it.
I forgot that you were working on Blade this quickly, but when we were sitting on the airplane, one of our flights, we had a couple of flights to get home. But one of the guys that was sitting like kitty corner from you, he had like a lower sleeve, and it was all right done, but it was like a dark green, and then it was circuit board. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, no, I was definitely looking at it a little bit. There was
It just made me think of a lot of the ideas that you and I talk about, like the directions you want your work to go towards. Like, oh, that was kind of like a functional circuit board. Like, they could have definitely, there were things that could have made it flow a little bit better, but it was also, it looked incomplete. It looked like it probably would have been a full sleeve.
I didn't necessarily, I seen that piece for sure. I didn't think it was the coolest piece in the world. I liked it for sure, but I liked the idea of the circuit board of it all. I was really looking at a lot of like the line work and the color, and I was kind of disappointed with the execution of the entire tattoo. But other than that, like, I liked the tattoo, and I was like, the dude kind of surprised me too, because he was like, I don't know. You wouldn't have known looking at him, but he was reading some very Republican books. Like, while I was sitting there, okay. I wasn't trying to judge him too much on or anything. I don't mind what you are, but I just didn't expect like a circuit board tattoo, sleeve wrapped around, all wrapped around him. So I'm just like, I don't know. I like to watch people and stuff. I'm trying to get like a read on this guy a little bit. He's a couple seats, or he's like a seat in front of me and over to the side. But I'm looking at his tattoo the whole time, starting to break that down.
Yeah, and, I was just looking at it from a distance.
I seen things that I could take off of it, though, because I seen how someone else might go about something like that, and how the circuit board pattern was, and I'm like, I could do some things like that.
Imagine if he knew an artist like you existed.
True.
Imagine if he knew an artist like you existed, because that's probably something, like, it seems like such a rad idea, but it seems like maybe the artist that did it maybe didn't have the passion for the repetitive lines and shapes, and how like artists will do things, but like it's a chore, not necessarily something that they absolutely love.
Yeah, and I could see that piece being
geometry
a piece like
is a chore for artists who don't love it.
And a lot of people want it, and not a lot of artists do it, and so, they go to whoever they think might do it best, or who might have done it a few times in the past. They look through portfolios. They don't find someone who only does that, but they're like, well, he does it. But it's really, a lot of times just regurgitated mandalas, regurgitated patterns, or something that they found on, on Google or something. Or, they did their attempt at it, and it looks awesome for the style that they do and everything that they know. Maybe they're a traditional artist that does some traditional mandalas, and their mandalas look awesome. But that's not necessarily going to transfer into more complex geometry and, more complex, geometric tattoos. Like, it might look like they do some mandalas, but you start getting them for some real big work, and they're going to go about it completely different than someone like me is going to go about it.
I just thought that was a rad idea with so much potential, and it was like, man. But this is where it's like, I feel like this is so important, because, like, if he would have... Maybe that tattoo is exactly everything that guy wanted and everything he could have dreamed of. But, like, I feel like I could have taken that idea and pushed it, like, 6 levels further. And I think you could have, too. Like, one of the things when I talk about circuit board art, we're kind of derailing a little bit. It's supposed to be Blade's turn to talk. But when I think about circuit board art, like, you can Google search hidden circuit board art, and it'll, like, show you, like, actual computer circuit boards that have, like, faces in them and characters in them, and it's like, there is deliberate circuit board art, and there's a rhyme and a reason to why they lay things out the way that they do. Sometimes it's so it looks nice, sometimes it's so it like works more efficiently, but either way there's a rhyme and a reason to every line on a circuit board. And I think it's cool when, like, you can bend it and make it even more interesting, or when you can take that same line and make it a shape just to make it visually cooler, just for the sake of making it cooler.
Yeah.
But if I were to, that sleeve in particular just got my imagination running. Like, it's more your style of stuff, but just looking at it, it was like, oh, I could have done this, this, and this. But
yeah.
But yeah, I guess long story short, make sure you get the right artist. Because, like, the rad idea, the best idea can fall short if you go to the wrong artist for it. You know what I'm saying?
100%, yes.
Yeah, like,
especially
the most amazing idea will fall short if you toss it to the wrong artist. They might catch it and then fumble it. You want to make sure you get the right artist who's, like, not only going to catch it, but they're going to catch it and make a whole brand new game with it.
Right. They're not just going to regurgitate the pictures that you sent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they want. You know, most people, or not most people, but I do find it a lot where, I don't know, someone comes to you with a drawing and everything, and people think that this is what they want. They want the picture that they brought to me. It's this picture of, a hexagon sleeve or whatever like that. Hexagons and this and that. It's like, even if they think that's, you want an artist who isn't just going to see that and be like, okay, that's exactly what they want. You definitely, just exactly what you just said, be able to take that, elaborate on it, and take it to the next level and make it their own, because this person sought you out over someone else. Right. You might, so, come up with it yourself.
Yeah.
Don't take from other artists' work. Don't ever get the same tattoo someone else has.
Yeah, use it as inspiration, but try not to ask for the same exact tattoo.
Yeah. I mean, just try to be... I mean, that's your own personal originality, and it's not that hard to find an artist who will be original, that won't take from Google. You just got to seek them out just a little bit more, And you don't always know that they're there, and you don't always know that that's what's happening. You don't always know that your artist just pulled that shit from Google, and that's the problem. But when you seek out, I'll just say a higher echelon tattoo artist, they're not just going to pull that shit off Google. They're going to use everything they have in their arsenal for resources. They will, but it's not going to be a copy and pasted picture from Google.
It's going to be their entire bag of tricks, and then some new magic.
You want the personalization.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the dude with... Unless it's a planned matching tattoo, you do not want to be that dude that has a copied tattoo of somebody else.
Right, and don't be... Even if it's like, oh man, I don't want to have the same thing as someone else. It's the person who got it first... Damn, fuck no, do they want you to have that tattoo?
Yeah, reverse way. Like
anyone to have the tattoo they have. It's special to them, and so you're disrespecting other people by asking for the same tattoo. Make it clear you don't want the same thing.
I have always taken pride in the fact that I got my Converse All-Star tattoo before the game got his. Okay? I need to throw that out there. I had it first.
He's coming for
then
you.
The game got it.
He's seen it. The bigger name you make, the bigger danger you put yourself in.
I had it first. Uh-oh. And you know what? I've had my Chuck Taylor tattoo for so long. I feel like I definitely had it before it was a thing. Before Taylor Gang existed, I was.
You're gonna find people that have the same tattoo as you, and you're
just by happenstance.
Just because of statistics.
Just because
in
like
general,
you like the same awesome thing.
Things are it just happens, But I feel like the more complex of a tattoo you get as well, or like the bigger, the less chances you have that of happening.
Absolutely.
The less chances you have. Like the harder it is for someone else to copy something, the harder it is. The less it's going to happen. If it's just like a small little symbol tattoo or something, anything the size of a baseball has done. It's so hard to do something that someone else hasn't done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes it's just going to happen, or something might seem kind of similar. It might look like someone else copied something, but really it's just like, hey, that's a rat with a fucking piece of cheese, It's like, how many fucking ways can you tattoo that shit? I know there's an infinite amount of ways, but, other people are going to have rats and pieces of cheese. It's just going to happen.
That's why I like imagination realm-based things, be it ornamental work or bio work, or I just like it's not just a thing. I mean, I have a few tattoos like that, but those are like, I call them my sporadic tats. They're not like the major tattoos in my collection. That's awesome. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at Blade, and I want to talk to him. He's got so many tattoos, and we could talk about each one of them. But I want to bring up the first time I met Blade. We were at the old Red Tree location, and I was working away, and he was getting worked on by the legendary Marty Holcomb, who, like, actually is our profile picture. If you guys wonder who the white-haired wizard is, it's actually Marty, who we talk about all the time.
He is the tattoo wizard.
Yeah.
Like, he is one of the OGs
we borrow his likeness, and
we are blessed.
And I think he's cool with us using his likeness, too. But anyways, Blade was getting worked on by Marty, and I'm just kind of like, I have a tendency to deliberately eavesdrop on all of Marty's conversations. Like, and he knows it, too. I tell him all the time, I love the way he tells stories. So, like, I know that he projects just so that I can listen. So, anyways, let's talk about the work that you've collected from Marty, and then let's talk about your other leg sleeve. Let's go into those two ideas. I just want to jump into the Marty stuff because that's where you and I became acquainted.
So I have 2 Marty Holcomb tattoos, and one is I approached him and I was like, I want you to just give me like your artistic style of a devil, like whatever that means to you. Just draw me like something, and I'll see what I like, tattoo it. So Marty, being like the really cool artist that Marty is, he drew me like, I feel like 8 designs of like just different versions of a devil. Some were just devil faces, some were like full like men like posing and whatnot. And we were just looking at all of them, and I was kind of overwhelmed because like I did not think I was going to get 8 options, and so I was like, oh wow. And I narrowed it down to 3. And then I was like, what of these 3 do you like, since you're like because I really like Marty, and I just like whatever he says, more or less, like I feel like you should more kind of just go with, especially tattoo wise.
For sure.
Like if he's like I like this one and I don't like this one, you should probably go with the one that he likes. And so I was like, I want you to tell me which of these you like, because I know it's my body, but you're tattooing it. And so he picked more or less the one I have now. He was like, I think that's the one I would want to do more. And I was like, sweet, let's do it. So he tattooed that. Then about a year later, I had him do my mom tattoo, which my mom has a Tweety bird. And I had him take the Tweety bird and then do like just the classic like mom heart thing with it. And so he did that. So me and her kind of have a matching tattoo in that way. And those are my 2 Marty tattoos. And like you said, he just radiates stories like amazingly. That's kind of why I got the second tattoo from him specifically, because I just
crazy when he starts talking about like other artists and other tattooers that he's known, and it's just casual, and it's like, Marty,
you're like, what?
You hung out with Lyle Tuttle?
Right.
Like, that's how you met Lyle Tuttle? Like, that's... And, like, he's got, like, artifacts in his collection. Like, he's got... Once he starts telling his stories and starts telling you about the things that he's collected over the years and the people he's hung out with, it's like, Marty, just radiate some of that to my direction.
He's so, like, he just reminds me of the Big Lebowski. Like, he's totally just that chill fucking dude, Jeff.
He wears,
Jeff
like...
Bridges.
Like a flannel and sweatpants every day. It's not like a flannel. It's so like a gray button-down denim shirt.
Just imagine that.
Yeah, it's like a gray button-down casual shirt. Like, it's a flannel, but not flannel print.
He's always super chill. He's got a real...
gray sweatpants.
The chillest person I've ever met.
Like, just such an easy way of, like, talking, and, like, when he's talking about things and I don't know, it's... He's a wizard all around.
The way
he talks to you, to the art that he makes.
All the time I say I want to smoke weed with Marty, and, like, it's a bucket list thing. I really want to get Marty to smoke weed with me. But, like, you would think the way he carries himself and, like, his just super chill demeanor, you would think he was baked out of his gourd like Willie Nelson. But he does not smoke weed. He hasn't smoked weed in years and years and years.
I asked him that same thing the first time he tattooed me.
I really want to smoke weed with Marty.
We've tried. We've tried to get him
the offer is always there. Never pressure, but always an open invitation. Maybe I'm overly excited about
pressure. You're invited. You want to smoke?
It's really good this time.
Oh man, it's cool. I don't do that anymore, but I used to. Used to smoke all the time.
He'll tell us stories. Sometimes when he's got some of his older clients that he's worked on for years and years that have like bodysuits, like they'll get into some of the like rowdier Marty stories, and you can tell that even in his rowdy days, he was still like the father hen of everybody. Like he's kept it within reason, kept the vibe good. Yeah, Marty's just a magic man.
I love when he talks about his clients that he's had from 30 years ago. And he's like, I haven't tattooed this guy in 20 years, and he's like, and I just or 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden one day this fucking dude runs up to me from down the road at night one time. He's like, I forgot if it was one of you guys or him that told me this story. I think it might have been with you if he told me.
Where the guy rolled up on the bike?
Yeah. And he's like, hey man, I got this is you 30 years ago or some shit like that, and then he left after that.
Just boom. Yeah, no, Marty's amazing. I love it. He's so cool. I can't. You know what? We need to get Marty in here. Is what we need to do.
Dude, oh my goodness.
I bet we could probably get a couple of good episodes worth of material from Marty. It's going to have to be like our late night session, though. We might have to go to his studio, too.
It'd just be Marty. It'd be like the Marty hour, man. 3 hours of Marty.
3 hours of Marty, yeah.
And that's just episode 1.
Part 1.
Oh my god.
The Marty Holcomb Wizard Hour.
Yeah, I'd be like, Marty, you want a place to get... Cause what a better tattoo collecting story. I mean, that's exactly what these are from him. So, what better stories to tell on here.
And just art store, like, just everything he has is just gold. Like,
I wonder if he'd love that outlet to be able to sit and tell those recorded. And
I think he'd be maybe apprehensive until he like sat down with us and realized we're really just sitting here having coffee.
Yeah.
Like, we might have to do dabs so we don't smoke him out that day. Or, like,
right,
share
just
the
blunt
vape.
him out in the
Yeah,
room.
we might have to do like a
do
vape cartridge that day.
What'd you say? Pull back the language?
No, I said we might have to do a vape cartridge that day so we don't give him
cartridge.
like a super contact buzz.
Yeah,
no peer pressure.
I don't even have
no
to,
peer pressure.
I don't even have to smoke. I'd be so happy just to have him here.
Yeah, I love hanging out with Marty.
Whatever he's comfortable with, I'm cool with.
We need to change the subtitle of our show, the Marty Holcomb and Adam France fan clubs.
Yeah, right.
Yep, for sure.
Give respect where respect is due, man.
Yeah.
I mean, people that have earned their stripes, that I enjoy. I enjoy giving those people respect. I like that because you work for it. You got there. It's like I enjoy being one of the people. Like, hey man, you're out there fucking doing the shit, dude. Fuck yes, you deserve some gratitude. I'll be the one to give it to you. And and as an artist, as I work the rest of my life, eventually you kind of get to those upper echelons too, where it ends up coming back around.
Another thing we can talk about with Marty is, like, as far as collecting goes, is he can talk about all the different Flash, like the specific Flash sets he's made, because then people will realize they're walking around with Marty Holcomb work. Like, I'm going to say anybody that collected Tattoo Flash from, like, the mid-90s to the mid-2000s, there's a high likelihood Marty drew it. Like, I believe, like, I believe a lot of the Cherry Creek Flash he did. There's a whole bunch of, like, Harley Davidson Flash. Like, now that I know Marty, I can flip through my old Flash books and be like, yep.
Oh, that's him. Wow.
Yep,
Wait, just to give everyone first off reference, let's say no one knows, anyone who's listening doesn't know anything about tattooing yet. What's a Flash sheet?
A Flash sheet would be like one of the, let's call them a prefab design, where you can like walk into a shop and you can actually like pick a design that's actually been drawn, intended to be tattooed.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So he's done thousands of those.
Thousands.
Right? So you can
more
imagine,
than anybody in the tattoo community.
10 to 20 probably Flash designs on a Flash sheet, depending on the size. Maybe there's only 3 or 4 on a Flash sheet if they're larger baseball size designs. But little Flash designs, you got 15 on a sheet. Thousands of sheets.
Thousands.
Like multiple thousands.
Probably
thousands.
10. Like, I mean, yeah.
Minimum 5,000. Like, that's lowball minimum.
Yeah.
5,000.
So
it's probably.
I remember him talking about
double
he
or triple.
he took quite a while off of tattooing at different points in his life, and he just did Flash sheets, I think.
Yeah. So when we talk about Marty, like, you might not think that it relates to you because of wherever you live in the country. Like, there were other local artists, but like they were doing Marty's tattoos. Like, Marty drew what you got tattooed.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's incredibly prolific, and I just love sharing Marty knowledge because he applies to. There are a lot of old school tattooers that have been around forever, but not ones that have contributed as much as Marty has. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if not for some of the designs that Marty made, so many people wouldn't have had that tool to learn how to make that design on their own in the future.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? By taking a simple line drawing of this intricate, complicated design, we can now build much more complicated tattoos. Like, it's just easier to understand when you've got Flash to work off of.
Yeah.
And that's the starting point for a lot of tattooers, is working off of Flash, or it was. I mean, we've got other things now, but Marty's just absolutely magic. Take a moment and just Google search Marty Holcomb, and you'll see his paintings, you'll see his tattoos. If you're lucky, you might even pull up some old photos of him with long hair. And you can see Marty and all. Like, once you know what he looks like now, he hasn't aged. He hasn't changed at all. He looks exactly the same, but with white hair.
Yeah, his hair color is different.
Bridges, man.
Yeah.
Gandalf Bridges.
Gandalf is perfect. That is Marty's the Gandalf of the tattoo
Mixture of Jeff
community.
Bridges and Gandalf.
Absolutely.
So
he's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about your other leg.
Other leg? Okay, cool. My other leg is done by Kevin Stress.
Where's Kevin Stress from?
I think he's from Ohio. I might be wrong. At least that's where he is now.
He currently lives here, yes.
I think he's from here. He's been here for a long time. He tattoos at Enzo, which is on 4th currently. And the piece that he did is a Japanese Biomech fusion piece, and it goes from my toes all the way up to my knee, like back to my kneecap and back behind my knee. And eventually it's going to go up further, but for now it's just a knee down sleeve.
It's super impressive. I feel like the first time I saw it, you had just had like the outline and maybe just some color in some limited areas.
Yeah, I don't think I even had my knee outlined yet or my foot, so it would have definitely just been like mostly the calf to ankle.
It's such a rad piece, though. It's it's not every day that you see a fusion of such extreme opposites. And Kevin just kills it with all of his textures and just his attention to detail.
Yeah, so his detail is crazy.
What's his last name?
Stress.
Kevin Stress?
Yep.
I haven't heard of him.
Oh, he's awesome.
He mostly, before the Japanese Biomech thing, he's mostly just done like pretty traditional Japanese work, which is also really awesome. And one of my favorite things about Kevin is his color saturation. Like he just,
Ben's,
his colors is crazy.
Super colorful leg.
Yeah.
With the bright orange flower.
Okay,
yes.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
Kevin's
Then
work
we got
as well.
him up on the big screen here.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, his work's
that
impeccable.
might be, I'm not sure if that's it, but that might be Rusty's back right there.
Yeah, the blue one.
Yep.
I need to get myself a Jamie to be able to pull this stuff up in the background. Like, hey, Jamie, pull it up on this big screen.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. As soon as we figure this out, we will immediately outgrow it and need a Jamie.
Because if I could just get someone to just sit on the computer right here while I'm talking, it would be cool. I don't like having to take time to do that, but there's also potential of doing some cool things over here. Like, I don't know if y'all noticed, I just threw in some bird noises. Y'all are getting bird noises from now on.
I kind of don't mind the bird noises.
I honestly think it's really awesome. I love it. Just little, light, subtle, but we're actually outside in the middle of a babbling brook.
Yes. Yeah, a little trickle.
I don't hear waterfall. We get some waterfall noises too. We'll get some volcano rumbling.
Yes.
You know what? Before we add volcano rumbling sounds, I'd rather just have like a real life bong.
Right.
We'll just use that.
Just kidding.
We'll just use a real life gargle if that's the noise we want going on.
Oh yeah, right.
Real life gargle.
Right. Bong just hit the fawn. Fawn just hit the bong.
Well, I'm about to rip a dab.
Yeah, we're gonna get higher, and then so thank you for listening to part 1 of the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Blade Amodio. We're gonna get high.
We'll be
and
back
then we're
in a
gonna
few
come
minutes
back
and
we're gonna
actually
talk
more about
France's
his collection.
Piece. I want to talk about Adam France's chest piece because, man, last time we talked about that, it was fun.
Yeah.
I lost it.
It's a good one.
We'll come on back. We're gonna come on back now. So
see you in a few.
Yep.
And we're back to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Blade and Fawn.
Something's wrong. Gotta start over.
So today we're talking about Blade's tattoo
collection, and we've been kind of going all over the board, talking about a few things: our Oregon trip, and Adam France, and Marty Holcomb. I think we got a little Marty Holcomb centric for a minute there.
It's okay.
He
deserves
it.
He deserves it. We're gonna talk about Marty a lot.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, now we want to. I want to talk about Adam's piece that you got going on here because your chest piece is fucking dope as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see it?
Yeah, here we go.
I know we got some photos before, so Fawn will just upload those to the video so people can see it. But yeah, that is so gnarly. How many sessions did it take to complete this piece?
Ballpark, if you had to guess. I know it's.
Yeah,
I always
you
lose
don't have
track
to
on the big
exactly,
projects.
I'd have to guess like 8 or 9. Like, honestly, like.
That's a testament to how fast Adam works,
yeah,
man.
right.
That is a lot.
8 or 9.
That's a lot of work, man. Like that is a full
lot.
chest piece on a tall person, so definitely an extra foot's worth of work.
And we keep saying chest piece, but it's actually the full front torso, from like the top of his shoulders all the way to like
my hips. And stomach area.
Yeah, all the way. So it's not just like the chest piece. This is.
Yeah, it's a good like.
It's a lot of work, man. My hat's off to you if you got that done in 8 or 9 sessions. That's daunting to think about how many hours you must have sat each time. And Adam,
we would do like, well, the first session was like an all-dayer, but like otherwise they would be minimum 4 hours, otherwise 6 to 8 sometimes, but usually like 5 to 7 is like a good range for him and us when we were doing it back then. And we were there for a while. It was like every month or every other month I was trying to get sessions done because when I did the first outline session, I waited an entire year to like get worked on again because
it was
like
traumatizing,
it was just awful. Because
one of my worst sessions was on my chest.
Like I was just like, oh man, and then it took me a year, and then I was like, hey, like sorry I've been gone for about a year, but like let's do this, and also now that I'm back, like let's not fuck around, like let's just get right to it and try to do them at least every other month, which I think we did for the most part. I think there was one period of time where he like went out. I think he went out to like Oregon, like visiting or did something for a little bit, and so we missed out on like a couple of months, but then otherwise it was like back to regular sessions.
Nice. Oh man, I remember what it was like seeing it. Like, I saw him for my leg for like 4 years, so we had almost a session a month for 4 years. But with my chest, the leg wasn't daunting. Like if there was an area that was rough, I knew the next session wasn't going to be so rough. It'd be in a different area. But with the chest, I was just after the first session, I was nervous about the second session, and the second session was like my most like altering tattoo session of my life. It was pretty like it rocked my world.
Yeah, it definitely changes you.
So it was like 2 years, maybe more, before I had the third and final session on it. But it was definitely like, I gotta do it. I gotta get it done. I don't want to. Like I could walk around with it partially finished for the rest of my life, but I made a commitment. I gotta do it. It's daunting.
Yeah, it is. It's rough. Like, especially if you're skinny, like, which we all are, and I think we all have our chests done. Like, it's horrible. Like, especially when you get to the collarbone and, like, depending on where it goes on your chest, like, the rib area. Like, oh, my God.
It really does feel like your soul is being tattooed in some areas,
like,
right?
You're just like,
tell me about, let me ask you this.
Man, especially when you look and you're like, there's so much to do.
Right.
When you're like, when it first starts hitting that chest, but after a while, it sucks, but you almost get numb to it. And then, I mean, honestly, we might talk about how much it hurts, but I don't know. I feel like, dude, Adam was using, just like you use, you know, I use Bactine a lot, but usually I spray, I'll put it in a foam bottle and use it every once in a while. You guys just straight pour it in a bottle and go right
I
onto
go
the
through
tattoo.
at least half a bottle
and I
every
noticed
tattoo.
when you were doing that on my tattoo, what a luxury that was, because as soon as you hit an area, you wipe it. Next time you hit that area, it's 100% numb. So any area that gets worked, you feel lucky because you can go back to once that area's hit. That's the area that doesn't hurt much anymore.
Yeah,
so like, please go tattoo the area you've been tattooing.
It
Don't
allows
go
you
the
to
new
catch
spot.
your breath, huh? Like
yeah, definitely.
on the numb areas, like it still hurts if
really
it's a
allows
new
you to
area, but
steady
it
it.
allows you to catch your breath and kind of like
steady the pain and almost let you, like when I was talking about how it was letting me, I was able to like meditate more through this tattoo than normal because I just felt like because of that Bactine and because it wasn't just like, oh fuck, you know, the entire time. It was that for a minute and then it was like, oh, okay. I could just like loosen up and then be working in an area that's been beat up for a little while, so I'm just so much easier for me to just relax.
Yeah, that numbing stuff is good.
Yeah.
I know some people like hate on it, but man, after a while, like it's just nice.
Tattoos, I feel like
nice.
should for sure hurt, but numbing stuff is great. Just don't be like begging for numbing stuff right off the bat. You know that you're gonna have to. It's gonna hurt no matter what. Even with the numbing stuff, you're still gonna feel pain. So don't try to numb all the pain. But it's nice to have something that really takes the edge off.
both as a tattooer and as a collector, I look at it as a tool. I look at it as a tool that's going to help me get through what would only be a 3 or 4 hour session. I can now tolerate it, and I have the stamina to sit for like 5, 6, 7, 8, however many hours it takes to get done.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Bactine is just enough to like I said a few minutes ago, just to like help you like catch your breath and wrap your head around what's going on. Like my lower back areas, like the kidneys, love handles, all of like the ass cheek area is awful. And I don't think I could have gotten through that without, like, the combination of Bactine and Prenum. Like, I could have, but not in any reasonable, sensible way. Like, it's rough.
Yeah, like both of those can definitely are necessary for certain areas.
But I guess my point is like if you're sitting down for a 2 or 3 hour tattoo session, mean, use it if you want to, but it's not going to be as necessary. But when you're planning on sitting for a full day session, like I always do when I get tattooed, and like when I work on my clients, I like using it just to like, all right, we're committed. We're going to get through this. I'm going to baby you as much as I can, but we're going to get as much work out of today as possible. And for me, it's like instead of watching the clock, I'm more like watching my client's pain threshold. So the longer I can stretch out that pain threshold, the more worth it is for both of us. The more progress I can get, as well as the more tattoo my collector has. You know, so we'll call it $10 a bottle. It's less than that, but we'll call it $10 a bottle. So if I go through half a bottle for each tattoo, that's $5. $5 to be in less pain the entire time.
The only
the outline sucks no matter what.
The money is not the inconvenience to the artist. I think in reality, any artist who isn't doing it, the only inconvenience to them is the ease of how easy it is for them to get their hands on Bactine in the first place, and how much they have. It. Because I mean, if you're pouring out a whole cup of it, you're pouring out almost an entire bottle, so it's almost an entire bottle for a tattoo. But in reality, that $10 is nothing. You just stock up on a lot of them, like just like how you buy a big case. That's what I did. I went and bought myself a big case of it. Wasn't even that much. Luckily, we are at True Tube, so we supply it, so it's easy for us to just get our hands on. But any other tattoo artist out there, I really do think that if you're a large scale tattoo artist, I could honestly give a crap less about anything smaller than the size of a hand. When it comes to numbing stuff, I don't think you need it. I think
just tough it out.
If you're under 3 hours or one session, whatever,
just tough it out.
You need that pain. But when it comes to really big pieces, and you got to come in over and over and over again. There's a level of stamina. You need to pace yourself. There's a level of stamina that you need to continue going, and knowing that the next time you come in, it's not going to be the worst fucking day of your life.
Yeah, it's like torture, but with kindness. This is gonna be a little spicy, but man, the Bactine's a valuable tool.
Oh yeah,
super valuable tool.
Bactine and Prenum.
We're having rad talks today, but I really want to talk more about Blade's collection. So let's do the rundown. Who all has worked on you? We've talked about Adam, we've talked about Kevin, and we've talked about Marty. But you have an incredible collection.
Marty. I have work from. Okay, I gotta pick a place.
And if there's any artists,
start at your head and go down.
Really don't
head
like.
Down. Cool.
You got any work that you just don't like?
I have one piece that I kind of don't like. Actually, I have two that I really don't like. One, Adam kind of fixed it. The only problem with it is that one line is just like slightly off, and once you see it, like
is it the geometric?
Yeah, it irks me. Here, I'll show you. You can see he like blasted some color over it good, but like right there, it's just slightly off. And once you see it, it's just like ugh.
Let me see that.
But overall, like right there, that.
Oh, it's you know what? I didn't even notice it till you pointed it out.
That line was dark right there.
It would fill it in.
And it was just as thick and dark. Wouldn't that just fix that? You didn't see that? I mean, it doesn't look that off. It just looks like it's just not there. Like it lightened up. You know what I mean?
He plugged it with white and yellow a lot first, but before it was much. I feel like it was much more noticeable before. But this one, like, it's mostly this line that I'm looking at.
It's just a little off to the side.
That one right there.
The vertical.
Just slightly.
The vertical is just a little off.
Yeah, I do see that.
But
I didn't notice that though.
Yeah, but all things considered,
as someone else looking at it.
All things considered, that's not the worst. And then I have the word misanthropic tattooed on me, which I don't like because I just got it at a really dark time in my life, which is just a regret. But other than that, all my other work, no, and I'm pretty covered otherwise. But no.
Nice. That's
good.
Awesome.
Hashtag no cover-ups.
Yeah. You done it.
And then we said head down.
Yeah, let's start at the head.
Yeah,
Nathan Marty did, I guess a mohawk tattoo on me. I have a biomechanical eyeball on the top. And then a crazy demon face on the back, and both of them are crazy awesome.
Super bioed out. Yeah. Awesome. Quality.
Awesome. Each piece just took one day. I think both were about 5-6 hours. Great. Solid sessions. Definitely used Bactine. It's good stuff. Whoa.
Whoa. Waterfall.
Dude, we just portaled. Where are we, Fawn? What just happened?
Are we in Costa Rica? Damn. We're in Costa Rica now.
All right, well, we're podcasting in Costa Rica now, so we're just going to go with it.
All right.
Love it. But yeah, so he did those two, and then I have the other sides of my head. My full head is done, but the other sides of my head were done by Ben Ervin, and those are a mandala on the left side, and then a saber-toothed tiger on the right side of my head. Adam France did my chest, torso. Ben Ervin and Scott Sims did a rib collaboration, which is pretty sweet. It's a big skull. Scott also started an outline on my back. From there, it's a lot easier. I have J. Brett Prince has done a couple of my palms. Well, a couple of my palms, both my palms.
A couple of them.
Yeah, actually, well, he also did
a couple of my palms.
He also did the bottom of my foot, so I guess that's a couple of my palms, but whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Emanuel Mendoza did my handpiece, which is a goat. And then from there, I have Savannah Fox has tattooed me, Brandon Blevins, Brian Ewing, Haley Zitoni, Mike McCollum, I think, is also on me. Chris Jolliffe is one I think I've got Chris Jolliffe, Kevin Stress, Gunnar. I've got a few Gunnar pieces, which I love, because Gunnar's just really cool, too. Similar to Marty, just has a lot of great art skills and stories and awesome things.
Nice.
That might be it. Oh,
I've never met Gunnar.
Kurt Everett has tattooed me. All right, now I think I'm definitely out of names.
What'd Kurt do on you?
Solid collection.
He's tattooed. He did this skull. He did this cat, this eye, and then I had something planned with him right before all the shops shut down, and then we just haven't rescheduled yet, but that's coming soon.
When I have people hit me up for itty-bitty little, like what I call sporaditats, they're just really hard to fit in my schedule with all the big projects, I usually send them to Kurt. I actually haven't met or hung out with him, but from what I hear, he really enjoys the little tattoos, and all of his work is always it looks like it was stamped. It's so perfect.
And he just can do a lot of different styles as well. He doesn't just stick to one lane. He does really good black and gray. I've seen him do flower fauna type stuff that's really good in black and gray. I mean, I have color pieces from him. His color is really interesting. He's got a good lane of stuff to do. I like him.
Yeah, cool. All right, who else we got rolling? Is that all of them?
I think
Did we hit them all?
What do you have on your arm over here?
Oh, another Biomech Japanese Kevin Stress piece.
Yeah, it matches his leg perfect.
Yeah.
The eyeball on the inside bend, I don't think I noticed that last time. That's perfect placement.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I like it. Red.
Who did the Geo?
That was Mike McCollum.
Okay.
And he used to own Lock, Stock, and Barrel.
Okay. Nice.
I don't think he does anymore. Yeah.
Red.
I think that's it. I'm pretty sure.
Red. So you and we both have pizza tattoos. I see that you and Jordan both have alien tattoos. I don't know. I like seeing similarities in collections. Yeah, Adam did my pizza Steve.
Oh, that's awesome.
You've got a pizza Steve on my foot.
Nice.
On my sporata area.
I would totally get one of the aliens eating pizza on me. I think that was a clever design. Good job, Adam.
Yeah. We need to
I
do.
see it
I
see it everywhere, dude. They were all over Michigan, and dude, I don't know anyone who actually knew who Adam France really was too much in Michigan that knew his artwork in particular. But they all seen his fucking alien stickers. Everyone would come through, and I'd be like, "Oh, I seen that at a festival. I seen that. My friend's got that on his water bottle."
Yep.
That's Adam France,
Yeah, between
man.
the festival scene and the tattoo scene, he gets his work out there. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, when you start getting to know people in the festy scene too, it's a real small world.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Adam was saying that you two would run into each other at festivals all the time.
You go to a lot of festivals?
I used to, definitely, especially when Adam was here, we would run into each other at not every festival, because he went to a lot more than I did, but yeah, especially all the ones here or close by. We went to, What Fest. I've run into Adam at, every What Fest. I think I ran into an Electric Forest a couple of times over the same weekend, and that was really funny.
Nice.
Because I forgot he was going to be there, and we were just I was walking around shirtless, and he was just kind of walking around, and I looked over, and I was like, I think I know that guy. And then it was oh, yes, that's it. Because, Electric Forest is a big place, so, what a place to run into someone that you didn't think you were going to run into somebody.
Right. That's how, it's so crazy what a small world it ends up being at places like that when there's that many people, but you still end up seeing certain people, and it's how the fuck?
Yeah,
I haven't seen you in 10 fucking years.
I I love that.
Every time I'm at a
when
festival,
you get reminded how
for me,
little
it's
the
like
world
that.
is.
There's always magical experiences that you could have never guessed were going to happen when you go to festivals and you put yourself in that kind of environment. And when you just let go, I mean, if you sit there with your asshole clenched the entire time and you're an asshole and you're just sick of being hot and you're sick of being sweaty and you're sick of everyone around and the crowd and stuff, if you're someone, you got to learn how to drop out and just be there to have fun.
Life, then
right.
Why would you even be
You've
there?
turned yourself into a black hole and you absorb any energy that starts to pour out of yourself, and so you're just fucking. You're the snake eating its head. Don't be that. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But yeah, magical experiences happen when you let it happen. And festivals are a place where a lot of people are experiencing the same thing like that. So when you put that much like fucking magic energy together, oh man, wonderfully fucking weird shit happens.
One of the things
So
I love
weird.
about people watching is like when you can people watch a large group like that, and when you can watch something, when you add the element of live music to people that are all gathering with the same intentions, it's really cool to watch. Like if you can get high enough on a hill to just like chill and smoke and just watch everybody and take that in, you can actually watch the energies like shift from one side of the crowd to the other. And sometimes it shifts with the music, sometimes it's against the music, but there's this really cool like collective dance that goes on, and it's almost like an aura above the crowd if you can get high enough up to see it. And you'll literally see the energy move as if it's like floating in water, but it's really like everybody's energies playing with each other, and you'll just feel and see these different groups interact, but like in chorus with one another.
Like just like ripples of that vibration.
It's really nice.
There's like an ether to it, you know. It's
I
like
feel
in
like
the
you
air.
don't see that like in other like gathering situations because everybody's got different agendas. When you're at a music festival, everybody's there to like just enjoy the culture and enjoy the music, and everybody's already got this like-minded thing. Like even if you're there in jeans and a t-shirt, or if you're super wooked out, like whichever end of the spectrum you are, everybody's there with the same motive and the same like ready to let go and chill. And you know, there are a few people that come along that might not know what they're in for and have a hard time letting go and just chilling, but with those exceptions, you see the whole crowd, and like, you know, you see what a cool family setting it really can be at a festival. Like even though it's like you don't know anybody in the crowd, but at the same time you probably know a ton of people in the crowd if you just start walking around. And but it's just magic when that many like minds get together.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a magic sacred dance that can't be replicated in any other way than a music festival. It's just, I don't know, it's like that pulls a similar resonance out of us and forces us to gather. I think it's something magic about festivals. I'm always bummed out that I don't. Yeah, then add psychedelics, and it becomes like hallelujah
then it's like
chorus.
putting an X-ray microscope on the situation, you know, and like you thought you could see some energy auras fucking shifting from one person to the next. Now then add mushrooms to that, and then watch that.
Oh yeah,
same
I was
thing.
talking about my sober experience.
Oh no, I totally understand.
If we start
and
talking
like that's
about
how I was relating to it too. But
experience, it's so much more crazier.
I could talk about that forever, and it's almost nice just to have the outlet to talk about it a little bit. Well, these are things we'll be bringing up big time on the other podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, gosh, I would love to talk about it, but probably should leave it more tattoo oriented on this. Maybe.
Isn't it cool when you're in a crowd of people like that and you get spotted because of your tattoos? Where people are like, hey. I feel like my head tattoos do that for me when my hair's cleanly shaven.
My head tattoos do it, and definitely the France piece, because like any festival I'm at, like this is the piece that everyone's like, what? Like I've been stopped a lot, like to just be not stared at, but people are like just like, wow, this is crazy. Because like especially at festivals when psychedelics are introduced, if you're looking at my whole torso, it can be really like.
Isn't it cool when somebody just stops you and they're like, hey, I know that tattoo, or they're like,
oh,
you're the guy with that piece.
Yep.
I love it. My back and my chest, I get that a lot.
That'll happen with my Adam piece and definitely my Kevin piece. People will stop me and be like, whoa, I've seen that online. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, neat.
It's funny because it's so big that it takes a minute to take in. So anytime anyone looks at it, it's like, you can't just see it in like the quick, like, oh, cool tattoo, man.
Yeah, like, neat.
It's like, yeah, you can't do that. You have to be like,
what?
And so, like, as you get to have the experience of having people just, like, looking at your tits, basically.
Pretty much,
Like, yo, I'm up here, man.
Like, hey.
But it's like, hold on. hold on. I know we just met, but there's more to see than most people, so
like,
let me just stare at your chest and your tits and your stomach for a little while. It's not gay. Let me do it.
And then they're cool.
Right?
I think it's funny when, I never mind,
Yo,
but I
bro,
think it's
no
funny when I
homo.
get put on the spot and somebody's like, show so-and-so your such and such piece, and I'll just, like, take my shirt off, and they're like, and it's always, like, that sigh, like, that like, gasp at first when they're like, because, like, my arms aren't covered yet. I've got my hand done, but outside of that, like, most of my tattoos are, like, very coverable by my daily clothes. Not deliberate or anything, just, but when I take my shirt off, like, sometimes it's crazy the reactions from people. But it's always awesome. Like, it's always such a cool reaction, and most of the time people have never seen tattoos like what I have, and your piece is a standout, just... It's a one of a kind. It's like it's almost in its own genre.
That happens to me too. Where like I'll be talking to someone and I'll mention like my chest piece, and I can tell that they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And then I'll kind of just lift up my shirt real quick and show them, and then put it down. And then they're like, whoa, hold on. They're like, I didn't know that was even there. Like you gotta, they're like, they'll usually just like take off your shirt. Like let me see that again. And I'm like,
there's something crazy about like that wall to wall color saturation where
I'm like, okay.
like because so many like the tattoos on your arms are much smaller and you can see a lot of skin breaks and stuff, so like they probably imagine the same on your chest, but when you lift up and it's just literal wall to wall color, like
these
it's
are also
impressive.
More digestible at a quick glance because it's like pizza, the devil, just quick things that you're like really recognizable. But then when you look at my Adam France piece, it's like a whole scene.
It's a transformation.
Right. And it's all abstract, so the mind has to like build a picture of it, you know? It's not like there's no quick association to anything. It's like what is your mind needs to create association.
Like you see it, you believe it exists. Now you have to backtrack and figure out what it is you're looking at that exists before you.
Yes, exactly. It's like if you've seen a chair but had no fucking
I never
clue
would have imagined
what a
this,
chair
but
was.
now that it exists,
like a baby
I must
that sees anything, you know, it's like I have no fucking I have to find a way to associate this with something. That's what the mind does. It has to associate. Or wants to, or like tries so hard to, so you gotta take a little longer. Gotta deeply see it. Just like a painting, though. That's why with like really, really cool tattoos, there's always like the invasion of privacy, which feels really weird.
Yeah.
You know, where people are like staring at you, and you feel awkward because people are staring at you. But then when you got a really, really dope tattoo, it's really hard because when I see someone with a really dope tattoo, I'm like, damn, I really wish I had the time to sit and really look at their tattoo because it looks amazing, but you just don't have that long before you start feeling awkward with strangers staring at them, you know what I mean? But like with a painting, I feel like I don't actually see a painting until I've been looking at it for at least like 15, 20 minutes. Honestly, like you don't see a painting unless you have been looking. You might think you see all the images in it, but you only see what your brain associates with really quick. You need time to break that down and also sit and explore everything for what it is.
I feel like you're right with my back. Even as like simple and bold as those shapes are, once you can look at it at a glance and you see this big geometric thing, but like once you actually focus on it, it's like, oh wow. Right. Like you can see the depth to it, and you can see the subtle like lavenders that are in some of the shadows that actually like give it this like effect of like a true like extrusion out and then a cut out through. And then if you happen to have the chance to see me with my shirt off, like on a clear blue day, it matches the sky pretty stinking well. So
that's awesome.
With just even depending on where you look at it, you take it in differently. You know what I mean? Like I could show it to you now and it'll look rad, but if we were standing atop a mountain with a clear blue sky behind me, now it looks like you're seeing through me, almost like a portal.
A really good tattoo is just like hitting all those levels, hitting the level of like when you really look into it and deeply see it, you see all that beauty that's in it. Even as simple as something might be, it's big, big shapes. There's still such a beauty in those big shapes, and from the technical ability, but also just like a painting, what's there, what's lying in front of you. But then there's the seeing it for like what it is almost quickly, like what does your mind see and associate right away. And so like what do you and so you without deeply seeing, like how well, like if someone looks at it really fast and they don't think too long about it, like you know what I'm saying? Like
this is one of the reasons, like in my own tattoo work and like my own inspiration, I like looking at sculptures and like architectural work, and like I'm kind of obsessive about cemeteries, just because when you look at something that's been designed to be viewed from half a mile away, that's pretty impressive. But then when you walk up on it and it gets even more interesting, and you start noticing these subtle little, like, oh wow, that's a cool detail they put in there, and oh, look at how the hair flows like this and that, and you start seeing thoughtful things like the expression on the face of the sculpture, or you might see like how the horse's muscles are doing certain things that make tension. So like and I'm just using like a generic monument guy on a horse.
It's almost like an as above so below type of
but
thing,
like it's impressive from a mile away.
From above, it looks amazing from below. It looks amazing from far away, and it looks amazing from close up.
Yep.
As opposed to only looks good if you really look at the detail, man. You see how cool it is. But it's like if I can't see that from like being able to step, see how cool it is for being able to step back.
You want to have the bold, quick impression, and then like this is worth walking up on and seeing even more. But for me, I like my artwork in general to look like a portal. I like to look like I'm looking into a window of something. And like in my own tattoo collection, I like the idea of something being like transformed. Like each of my limbs, as I'm collecting, it's being transformed. It's not like I'm just getting something on that limb. I'm transforming the whole limb or the whole body part. So like I want you to like see it from a distance, but I also like want you to see the textures of the coral shapes and the plant matter, and like come look at how this almost looks like velvet. Like but like you can see the bold, super contrasty, like color shifts and bold lines from across the room. But the closer you get, the more you see that like there's like this magic dancing around everything. I don't know. I like all of it. I like it to be like statement, but I also like it to be delicate and intricate at the same time. Not the easiest. Like it definitely, that's one of those things that like as artists we develop over time. So like more seasoned tattooers are just gonna know how to do those things better. But it's just because like we know what looks nice, and but I always like,
you've had the experience to see what doesn't look nice.
Yeah, I always just like taking those lessons from things that are old and are timeless, and that's why architecture really pulls my trigger, and that's why sculptures and cemeteries really pull my trigger. Because like if a sculpture looks good from we'll consider we're looking at like a bas relief of a lily on a headstone. If that lily looks good from 30 yards away, as I walk up on it, does it not look even more interesting? So then I also like to consider what was it that made that catch my eye from 30 yards away? Like what is it that drew my eye to that headstone to walk up and look? And so that's where it's like, some shapes do just communicate and draw the attention of the eye and move the eye. And like one of the terms I like to use is tell a visual story. Like it might not be anything. It might be an abstract thing that I'm working on or that I'm drawing. But like I want there to be a visual story for the eye to follow, so the eye should like move through the piece and up and down, and but I think that's part of it. Once you get a tattoo that has a lot of movement, that like the eye running from top to bottom, to left to right, from the background to the foreground, if you keep that eye moving, that just keeps the person that's looking at it wanting to move closer to experience more of that. And I think that's where, like, energy in a piece is so important. You know, you want to just keep that eye moving and bounce from, like, warm colors to cool colors, or bounce from dark to light. But those are the things that make a piece, like, interesting from afar, but even more interesting close up, is that movement, however you achieve it.
Right. And just also that balance of positive and negative, you know, that's one of the biggest things when you're seeing it from... when you're seeing it from far away, is just the contrast between the darks and the lights, the relationship between the two. You know, if it's really dark overall, you know, there might be a lot of little detail in there, but you step back and it just looks like a big black blob. Or, you know, or it's just really light and there's no real darks in there, and you step back and you're like, oh man, I can't see any of it. You know, I don't really see it. It looks great close up, but then you realize, and you put real black next to something, and you're like, oh yeah, that's that you haven't even hit your,
I feel like
80,
sometimes you see that with black and gray work
60-70%,
pretty often,
almost like 50%, and it heals up even lighter in that, you know. And
it just looks like a pencil sketch instead of a finished piece.
Right, and it can be a finished piece, and they still have their potential there. And so that's, you know, you just needs to sometimes go a little bit farther. Don't be afraid to get that next session and just call it after that. Like, keep layer that shit. Yeah.
So, Blade, I want to ask you a super vague, ambiguous question. So if you need a second to think about it, I think that's okay.
Cool.
In your opinion, what is the difference between a good and a bad tattoo? Because you have so many different styles on you. Like, if you had to put it in a nutshell, what would you, if you were coaching somebody else, telling them, like, here's what you want to look for, here's what you want to avoid, like, what is the difference between a good tattoo and a bad tattoo, or a good tattooer and a tattooer to stay away from?
Oh, man, that is a big one.
Yeah, I'm basically asking, like, all of your advice in one question.
In one question.
Yeah.
Definitely, one thing I always look for, I try to find out, like, aside from them as a tattooer, like, how are they as a person? Because I know there are some people that, like, are really good artists, but are also just, like, dicks in real life and kind of don't have, like...
That's an incredibly important thing.
A term you used earlier before we were here was bedside manner, kind of like with doctors, and, like, some tattooers just don't have that. And that's always one thing you kind of want to look out for, because, like, aside from getting the art from them, you have to be around them for, like, I assume a minimum of 2 hours, depending if you're getting a bigger piece, multiple hours. So, like, definitely that's one thing you want to look for, is how are they as a person. And then obviously also just, like, how are they as an artist? Do they do what you want? Like, definitely know what you want is a big thing too. I was going somewhere with that. Weed.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Difference
between good and bad.
I do it all the time, and that was a big, long question.
Or a tattoo experience.
I already forgot half of what you asked him. But what makes it good or bad?
In a nutshell, difference between good and bad.
Yeah, like, so do they do what you want? Like, don't just go to someone to get it. Like, definitely know that they can do what you want. And one other thing is just always look at their line work, because I'm good at looking at it. I don't know, some people who aren't, like, as into tattoos as me might not be able to notice it, but, like, always look at their lines, because that's where it starts. And sometimes you can tell if people do really shaky lines, like, then it's kind of weird. So, like, always look for that. That's a weird one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good...
It is true, like, because it's a fundamental, you know?
Yeah, the first technical thing that, like, the average person could look at is, like, just... Do the lines look crisp and clean like a coloring book?
Right.
Yeah,
like I feel like. Do you think that'd be a good layman's definition of, like,
for,
clean
like,
line work?
Book style, clean work, because, like, always look at someone's, like, their first session of a tattoo, because, like, you have to look at that for a while. You have to wait for that to heal. So if you don't like that of an artist, like, probably pick someone else, because that you always have to stare at. And once you have an outline, and then you're like, I can't wait to color this in, sometimes you're like...
Right. And if you got a bunch of bad line work, and you can tell it's obviously bad. There's a level of, like, sometimes I'll chicken scratch tattoos when I got really big pieces. Like, I'll go through with my skinniest, tiniest little...
exception.
A skinniest, tiniest little liner, you know, and I'll just go
like
all
over
the place with it.
Describing right now is... because I do it a lot. Sometimes I'll go through and I will simply commit a tattoo in either a very light color or a very, very light gray wash. But those are not the finished final lines. That's like going through to commit a piece, because the stencil isn't going to last however many months it's going to take for me to complete this piece. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit different than what we're talking about. For if you're committing to a large enough piece to have gray lines done like that, then you already know what to expect and you've already done your homework. But like if you're looking for a smaller piece, you know, these are the how to avoid a tattoo that just kind of misses the mark.
Yeah.
You know
I guess
mean?
there's a different level of it that I'm bringing it to. But
Yeah,
on that
because
level of just like, if you're, say you want a piece with really nice clean lines and you want, you know, whether it's color, whether it's black and gray, you get that first outline, and you know you want clean lines, and you see a bunch of the lines. Okay, well, these lines seem fatter than I wanted them. Oh, this line seems like it's not connected right there, and this is this and this and this and that.
Where the line
when it's a pretty line-centric tattoo, you know, it's a solid foundation for the piece you want. You know, say for you, especially with what you're saying with your traditional pieces and stuff, and like if the line work's not where it's at, like right off the bat, you're like, oh man, am I gonna let this person come at me again? Because you don't just thin line an entire traditional tattoo. Like,
right.
You get those fucking lines bold and you get them in there.
Yeah, you
know?
do it.
And
you
that's what says
a
good traditional tattoo artist from a bad one is, you know, one who's got a bunch of fucking blowouts, or there's no edges to their lines. You know, it just looks like an airbrush. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like airbrush edges, because everything blew out because they wanted that bold line. But what they did is just fucking dug it into you.
Yeah. I guess like a similar line is also just like research. Like even if you know or you think you know who you want to get tattooed by, research your artist and then research more, because there's always at least two people, probably close-ish who can do what you're looking for. So like always just research and see like your total spectrum, especially if you're going for like big custom work, because there's so many good big custom. I mean, even for example, Red Tree right alone has like I can't think of how many people are on staff there, but
I think
10
yeah.
artists.
And I think most of everyone there does or can do very large scale work. So like that right there is already like 10.
We already cover pretty much every style. We almost cover every style that you can.
Yeah, I can't
every
think of a
base,
style that.
But
yeah,
at the same time, look at other people too. I mean, I don't want to say don't go to Red Tree, but
oh,
you
I'm
know,
just using it as an example.
Oh no,
you have like
absolutely.
one place that has all of that right there, and that's just one place.
Let me pause this.
Yeah.
Let's just say Columbus in general is blessed to have as many heavy hitter artists as we have.
You want bio work, you got bio artists. You want traditional, you got you got every traditional artist you ever need.
Geometric, you've got.
I feel like because the community in Columbus is so big
Japanese,
and there are so many
Polynesian.
heavy hitters here, the bar is that much higher for all of those artists. So like, there are a lot of artists that are getting started, and I'm, definitely, if you have faith in somebody, sometimes the best way to collect reasonable, affordable art from an amazing artist is to find them when they're fresh and when they're young and when they're very early in their tattoo game. But that is kind of a roll of the dice. Like these are the people who we're talking about. Like you want to look at their line work, you want to look at their portfolio. One of the things when we say you want to look at their portfolio, especially somebody that's only been tattooing, let's say like 2 to 5 years. You want to make sure that, like, as you look through that book, you see constant growth. You don't want to see, like, haphazard all over the place. Like, this one's good, and that one, like, they missed the mark. You want to see very consistent, because what consistent growth shows is that they care. And that's what you really want to find, is just find an artist that cares about your project as much as you care about it. If you find that, you're going to end up with a rad project. If you don't find that, you're going to end up with a project that falls short. So look for the artist that is passionate about what they're doing and constantly growing and getting better. And just keep looking. Like, there's another thing that I want to say all the time is it's not a race. You get one body, so make the right choices with it.
Yeah, completely forget about that. I would really like to get tattooed this week or next week. Don't even think about that. Don't let, if once you feel that come on, unless I don't know, unless it's like something fun with your friends and you're just getting these little tiny things. Like, I'm not going to judge what kind of tattoo you want, but in essence, whatever you're going to get is going to be on you forever. And I'm definitely going to be a promoter of getting something that you're going to be happy with in 30 plus years. And almost any tiny little thing, unless you like, it's got really sentimental value that you're going to get, in a 10 minutes period. I don't know. I can't judge people. I don't want to judge people's. Whatever you get is going to be cool to you, however you feel about it.
There's no such thing as an emergency tattoo.
Yeah, just that's all I want to say.
If you put a time constraint on it, that's a really quick way to get a tattoo that misses the mark.
Mm-hmm. Because I love traditional tattoos, and I'm starting to say small tattoos aren't good, but I love a lot of small little things.
Mm-hmm.
I just think you should spend the time to really think about if and figure out if that's what you want, but also know like other potentials of what can be out there, and being able to get off on the right foot right off the bat, and know what your potential is of what you can be getting, and what if you want to go big, there's the option to go big, but at least you knew that there was the option to go big.
As far as like looking and shopping at portfolios and seeing what people are capable of and learning about their lifestyle, we have Instagram. 10 and 12 years ago, Instagram was not a thing quite yet. Like, you actually had to go into shops and like look at the books on the counter and talk to multiple people that had worked from different artists and things like that. So like there is definitely still the organic way to like walk into the shop. And there is like seeking out different people and like talking about their experiences. But with Instagram and with Facebook, most artists use that as our like working portfolio.
Just do all of your pre-looking work on Instagram.
You can scroll back years for some artists. And like, I encourage my clients to do that. I'm like, scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram if you really want to see what's up. And like, you can see like how I've like transitioned through different styles, and you can see like immediate periods of growth where it's like, oh, dang, 7 more tricks.
Right.
You know, like you can see in my work the growth. Like you can see how.
I've never gone back on my Instagram and looked at it and gone up. I've never done that. I've had it for probably 10 years now.
I feel like
really
if you
cool
ever want to get in an artist's
man.
head, go all the way
take
back
some
to the
mushrooms and
beginning.
do
And just look at their old- I've done it with a lot of artists because it's really fun to see, like,
to see the growth,
just to
right?
see like where they were and where they are now, and you're like, wow, like I've done it with I think almost every person that's tattooed me. It's really fun to see with definitely with Adam's work, because he just like he's always been so good, but like he just also has progressed in these weird trick ways that you can just see like really small things just over time where you're like, wow, like he's just figuring it out, and it's so cool.
Right.
Same with Gunnar. I've noticed a lot of like progression of Gunnar's style over the years.
I think
Really
a lot of that,
fascinating.
to be honest, is painting tricks. Like the better painters, and they're both really good examples, but the better painters they become, the better tattooers they become, because those tricks transfer over. I feel like I always try my new tricks out with a paintbrush first as well. And it's like once I get it down with a paintbrush, it's like, all right,
You're
here
like,
we
all right,
go.
And it usually translates to skin so just effectively, but a little different since the medium's different, but it's so cool. I love it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We start talking about color again, and I get distracted.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right. I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping it up. I think we're going to take actually a quick break. We're going to get a little higher. I got to use the restroom, and we're going to finish the podcast up then.
Awesome. Sounds good.
We'll be back
See
in a
you
minute.
in a few.
Give me a flick. All right. Thank you for listening to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast.
Welcome back.
Back again for our outro. Because we got a tattoo. Tattooing Blade Amodio. Pretty soon.
Pretty stoked.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So,
So Fawn had some questions for
I do
Blade.
have a question for
before
Blade.
we get
So,
out of here.
so my question, Blade, are you ready?
Yeah.
You're ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's another serious question. What do you think you'd like to hear us talk more about?
Man, that's a big one. One thing, which you guys have already done, and like you said, you'll probably do it again. Aftercare is always good to just like update, because I feel like aftercare changes like every 6 months to a year with the way the whole scene advances. So aftercare is always good. One thing that might be cool too, since it's for collecting, is to maybe like, you don't have to go too into every style, but maybe just do like a quick, you can maybe even do like 2 styles per episode and just kind of like do like a quick rundown of like what the style is, and
That's
then maybe
actually
like
on my list.
like a quick like these 5 to 10 artists are like a good place to start within this style if you're interested. 'Cause
Absolutely. Yeah, I think once we get a little bit further along, we'll get like, I'd like to get collectors that like have all neo-traditional tattoos and have them share like some of their experiences. We all just happen to have a ton of biomech, so we talk about bio a lot.
We should just get the Biomech Encyclopedia
Yeah.
out, and we'll just
No
have like a
plugs.
read with us day.
Yeah.
Or like a read along.
But I definitely, as we go, I would like to have guests on that like have specific collections and specific styles, or but that's definitely on my list. What do you think? What styles do you think we need to talk about the most? Like, what do you
Ooh,
think
that's a
is
big
the
one.
most important that like the most people would benefit from hearing?
Benefit from. I know you guys already do talk about biomech a lot, but biomech is always good because like there's
It's mysterious.
it's myserious
It's like the
and
abstract
No
end
one
of the
knows
spectrum.
about
Within
it.
the
It's
word
just like
biomech,
hidden in the dark.
that's such a big vague umbrella of just like honestly confusion if
Living
you don't
and
know
functional?
anything about it. Like
It's alive, but it's robotic. Are robots alive? Is Biomech
Living?
alive?
yeah, like
Functional?
Am I alive?
Space?
Are you alive?
I.
Are we alive? I alive.
I.
That's
Tis
all.
I.
that's always a
Yeah.
good one just because like there's so many like different versions of it and so many things like within that. I feel like I don't know. Also, one that you could do, just because this is another vague one, is black and gray, because there's so many things that you can do.
Yeah, I think we
within-
could probably break black and gray down into a few subcategories
yeah,
as
'cause-
well. Like, we could do like
We go.
photorealism. We could do like
'Cause even then that's bio,
like
like-
trash polka, where it's like got some of like the splatters, and then there's like chaotic black work.
There's all these subgenres of every genre, and I think that's something that not everyone sees too. Sometimes you just say traditional, but like anyone who's a traditional tattoo artist knows. I don't know a lot about it, but I'm sure there's all sorts of different kinds of traditional tattoo art, and different, just different ways to do things, different techniques. I don't know much about all those things because I don't focus on that, but I see all the subgenres of the things that I'm focused in. But that's also things that I didn't know before.
We were
before Biomech, for me, it was like Biomech was this huge encompassing, like to me I don't know, I seen it all as like Biomech, but now I see so many, like Biomech is so many different things, and there's so many different subgenres to it. Like if you say you want a Biomech tattoo, that's like asking me for a black car. Like I get it. Like yes, I love Biomech, I really do, but I don't really need. I don't necessarily need you to like go into exactly what you want and all that, because I do have my style, and you'll be coming to me for probably the kind of stuff that I do. But at the same time, it does encompass so much. It's not, it's just like asking for a tattoo. It's I don't. What do you mean you want a tattoo?
Specific.
I want to. Yeah. Do you like octopuses? Do you like
I am totally down.
Cacti?
I for sure would love to delve into every genre and every like subgenre that I can find, collectors that specialize in those. Any collectors out there that want to volunteer to talk with us, we are totally open for that as well.
Yeah, please send us put a comment in.
Right now we're
email
kind
us.
of reaching out within our group, which is huge, and we'll be able to pull in all kinds of collectors to talk to. But like anybody that like collects in any style or all styles, like hit us up. We'd love to hear your motivations, like what you collect, why you collect it.
More than happy to talk with you as much as you like. If you message us on Instagram on our Tattoo Collecting 101 page, we'll be happy to talk to you about pretty much, until we have tons and tons of people messaging and we can't message them back. Like, we'd love to talk about whatever if you have questions and stuff, like, for sure. Don't get all personal and stuff, but if you got things you want to say, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Please
like,
comment.
If
you hate things, please
things,
tell us that you don't like it.
Too.
Like, I mean, we'll anything you have to say is valuable to us. We're just happy that you're listening.
What are some other things you'd like for us to touch on? If you had a say in what we were doing.
Like what you were doing?
Yeah, like if you had a say in your list of audio options to select from, what would you want to hear?
Kind of similarly with styles, if you wanted to get really into it, sometimes you could focus on like a specific artist or a specific few and really get into them and like their history. It'd be really cool if you could get them on, but I know that'd be hard.
You mean artists besides Adam?
Yeah, like kind of like how we do with them, but just like within those styles. Like if you were doing Japanese, there's like, I mean, goodness, there's so many like heavy hitter Japanese tattooers that you could talk about just to like introduce, like even within Ohio, like the country and the world, like.
Yeah.
Man, all those styles have a lot of.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely grow into having a lot of tattooers on here, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know some, like, especially people who are either don't know a lot about tattooing or who are getting started. I'll show them a lot of stuff, and they're like, "I didn't even know tattoos could look like that." Like, especially when I show them.
That's one of my favorite things to hear. Is I didn't even know it could look like that.
You guys, that is my intention with this podcast.
That was possible.
Is to like show, like oh my god, I just want people to know what they can get.
So endless.
Half to 3/4 of my clients don't know the potential of what they can be getting. They haven't seen, like, even on Instagram, like they show me pictures that are kind of more on like the lower end of some of the cool things, and I'm like, wait, have you seen like I'll show them my art, but I'll also be like, have you seen this artist? Have you seen this artist and what this person's doing? Like, you're showing me this stuff, but like,
are you
seen
aware this
stuff?
Exists? Yeah.
And so many people just haven't seen those higher echelons of things, and how far things can really go when I can see that they're kind of stuck at what they think the tattoo can be as opposed to like what the ultimate potential of it is. And I always want to be the one to help people push outside of the box of what they're thinking and push that boundary and find an artist to
their
put
ideas, the
that
starting
kind of
point,
trust
and
into.
then jettison it to the next 3 or 4 levels up. Not just like the next level, but like several levels up. Like, let's skip all that stuff and make this the coolest thing ever.
All right. Especially if you're somebody who wants like a painting on your skin, it's good to really see, it's a pretty it's a generalization just saying a painting on your skin, but a painting style of tattoo that's composed like a painting would be is going to have so many different elements of design in it that you couldn't get out of the kind of artist who doesn't really care about their job or doesn't really care about the art form in general. because there's just so much that goes into composing and the elements of design and all the things. Think about how much we've talked about color and all these things and our thoughts about color and our thoughts about how, you know, color and vibration make the universe and like just like little nuanced things that come from being so in love with little things like that, you know, when you go to someone who doesn't even take that much of time to even think about the color wheel, they just like, I'll put yellow in that. Yeah, I'll put red. I'll put red in that. But they don't take the time to like the nuances of the fucking thousands of colors between every color and every color wheel. Like, and I don't know. There's a difference. Seek out those kinds of artists. I'm not saying like seek me out.
Yeah.
Seek I out.
Yeah.
But
seek I out. Just find artists that share your passion. If the artist shares your passion,
there you go.
For the project, then it's gonna be awesome. You know. Do you agree?
Definitely, yes. And also with that, like, as a collector, don't be afraid to give up, like, a little bit of your, or a lot of your control. Because, like, once you've found your artist, like, just trust them. Because, like...
That's an awesome way to put it.
That's how I've done it with most of my work, where I've tried to be really... I don't care-ish about it, but I've just tried to be really hands-off and be like, I don't want to get in your way. You do, like, I picked you, you do you. Like, I don't ask me too many things because then I'm in the way.
Once you're in love with the right artist's work, you just know they're going to make it
like
cooler than anything you could have imagined anyways.
Like, I'm not an artist. You are, so you got it more or less.
Cool. I think on that note, you guys ready to wrap this episode up and then
get
ready for tatty time?
Yep. Let's wrap it up. So, thank you for listening to the Tattoo Collecting Podcast.
All right, guys. Until next time, take care.
Thank you, Blade, for hanging out with us.
You.
I think everyone is definitely going to enjoy what you have to say.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Bye, guys.